Okay. Okay, so last week we learned about Ain Hara. We defined what Ain Hara was. We, said what it causes, and we also said how we could fight the Ain Hara. So the main way, we said the most simplest way is to learn Torah and to be amal b'Torah, be toil in the words of the Torah. So we're going to continue this theme actually, when we're going to talk about Yetzer Hara as well. And we're going to make I think, a very good connection between the two. Okay, so let's see what Rabbi Yeshua said. Rabbi Yeshua Omer, Ayin Hara, V'Yetzer Hara, V'Sinat V'Habriyut, Mitzion Adam Min Ha'olam. Those three things erase the purse from the world. So what are those three things? Ayin Hara, Yetzer Hara, which is evil inclination, and Sinat Habriyut, which some people define as Sinat Chinam. So what is Yetzer Hara? What is the second step? So it's very hard to define Yetzer Hara. Okay, there's a lot of people talk about. There's a lot of Meforshim. There's a lot of Gemara on it. It's very hard to put a shir with a lot of facts. So we're going to try to make it condensed. But in generally speaking, Yetzer Hara is, the way I see it, is everything and anything. Okay, it doesn't really have a form. Okay, it doesn't have a form. It could be anything a person has in his house, anything that a person buys. It's outside, it's inside the person. Give me any object, anything, and I could tell you how it could be related to Yetzer Hara. So for example, let's say a cell phone or a car. Okay, you could use the car for good, or you could use the car to do bad, right? Same thing with the cell phone. You could do good things with the cell phone. You can listen to lectures, you can do chesed with it and so forth. At the same time, the Yetzer Hara could get, maybe you could go here, maybe you could go here and use it for bad things as well. So from what I see, Yetzer Hara could be in any shape, any form, could be outside, could be inside. Unfortunately, the biggest Yetzer Hara, in my opinion, nowadays, it comes in the form of a cell phone. Okay, unfortunately, I know, chas v'chalil, I know a lot of people, unfortunately, they michalel Shabbat because of the cell phone. GS means Good Shabbos. Okay, on Shabbat. So I've seen it, unfortunately. But people can. It's an addiction, and people cannot let go of it. But we'll talk about it a little bit more. As the topic says, what is the essence? What is the main purpose of the Yetzer Hara? So there's a Gemara in Shabbat, Kuf Hey Amud Bet, basically says like this. I'm going to paraphrase it. It describes the Yetzer Hara as it says God, but it's a strange entity which is entrenched in your body, it's ingrained in you, in your heart, okay, and it begins the conquest of you from a small Aveira to the biggest Aveira. Okay, in a way you can understand it like this. Let's go back to our cell phone again. What is a cell phone? It's a permissible thing to have, right? But the Yetzer Hara is like this. You know what? Yeah, buy the cell phone. Oh, it's a good cell phone. $1,000 for a cell phone. You have to open it, has all the tchotchkes in it, all the gadgets for permissible use. And then the Yetzer Hara says, press that button. See what that button does. Go online. Okay, yeah, you could listen to Dvar Torah. You could go to online, Torah anytime. Any Kololoshin, whatever you want. But you know what? Oh, there's a nice ad. Click on this ad. See what happens. Nothing's gonna happen. It's an ad. Don't worry about it. Click on it, nothing's going to happen. So that's what the Gemara says. It starts with the little thing, and all of a sudden, 2-3 days later, you're going to use the cell phone for davar asur, okay, for an impermitted thing, okay, for an aveira. Okay, God forbid. Okay, say hello to everybody. No, okay. So that's what the Gemara means. It says, look, it's in you. As a matter of fact, the Meir brings down, says you are born with the Yetzer Hara. A person is born with the Yetzer Hara. The second he comes to this world, he has inside of him the Yetzer Hara. Okay? And the job of the Yetzer Hara, the essence, is to make from a small thing into a big thing. Okay, you understand what I'm saying? That's the job of the Yetzer Hara. That's how Yetzer Hara works. And Yetzer Hara has 13 years ahead of a man. In other words, we are born with the Yetzer Hara, but Yetzer Tov only comes in when you're bar mitzvah, or bat mitzvah if you're a woman. Okay, so the Yetzer Tov, the good inclination, is behind by 12 or 13 years. Meaning, again, it's like what the Gemara says, the Yetzer Hara is born with you, it's inside of you. Okay, how did it get inside? How did it get, there's a medrash about Adam and Chava, we'll probably get into that as well. But that's what it means, okay? It starts with the permissible thing, goes into the small thing, and then it creates a snowball effect. Okay, go give it to mommy. Okay, so that's what it means. That's what the Gemara means. It's an entity in you, starts with a small avera, and it turns into a big snowball effect. Okay, that's what it means. But there is another Gemara. It says like this in Sukkah Nun Beit Amud Bet, and it's a member of Rav Shimon ben Lakish. It says the following thing: not only the Yetzer Hara is there to damage you, to damage your being, it's also there to kill you, literally. Okay, by doing averot, I think what the Gemara means by doing averot, certain averot. Let's say you Michal Shabbat, right? What's the punishment for Michal Shabbat? Mitzvah. Okay, you die, you cut off. Okay, so that's the idea of the Yetzer Hara. It's to kill you, mamash. Okay. For example, what do we see? Let's say we talked about anger. Okay, a few weeks ago or a few months ago, we talked about the issue of anger. Okay, what happens when the person gets angry? His whole stomach gets twisted, gets high blood pressure. As a result of the high blood pressure, the person gets diabetes, ulcers in the stomach, and so forth. That's why we said, it's very important to stay quiet in order to avoid all these health issues. But again, that's the Yetzer Hara. Yetzer Hara says, you know what? It's okay, yell, let it out, right? That's what the psychologists say. Let it out, don't bottle it in, right? It's very not good to bottle it in. Let it out, get angry. Okay? Get angry. But what's the point? The point is it's trying to kill you. It causes you health problems. Okay? Smoking, for example. It's the biggest Yetzer Hara in the world, in my opinion. Vaping, smoking, whatever it is. Okay, what does the Yetzer Hara say? Take one puff, it's okay. Ooh, it feels good, take another puff. It's okay, boom, all of a sudden you're addicted. Okay, we know the causes of the smoke. Vaping, nowadays. I mean, I had a person whose sister works in the ER, and she says, a lot of we hear about the young people in the hospital on the ventilators, right? As a result of the COVID-19, God forbid, they pass away. So I said, I thought it only happens to the old people. So he says, the younger people that got affected by the COVID-19 who are on ventilators, he says 90% of them either vape or smoke. Okay, so that's where it said. That's the job of the Yetzer Hara. Okay, it's to kill you, mamash. That's what the Gemara says in Sukkah. Another way, in a way when you drive, for example, and I get a lot of cases like that. Talking on the cell phone while driving or texting. Okay, it's very important when you text and drive, you get a Facebook notification, you have to check it. Okay, very important. You get a text message, you get a phone, you have to make the phone call while you drive, right? Very important. Why? The Yetzer Hara is telling you, listen, you got a Facebook, you got to check it, you got to send a text message, boom, person gets into an accident, chas v'chalila, and the rest we don't want to talk about. I get a lot of cases like that, unfortunately, tickets and accidents, because people, that's what they do. They succumb to the pressure of the Yetzer Hara to do the wrong thing. Unfortunately, that's the job of the Yetzer Hara. Okay, that's the job of the Yetzer Hara, and that's why it was created. Any questions? Any questions? No? I remember, sometime when I was in the yeshiva, somebody referred to Yetzer Hara as dvar shtus. Dvar shtus means like empty air, empty words, empty ideas. When I was in law school, that's when Facebook really got really popular. Okay, so only then, about maybe 6-7 years later, I realized what dvar shtus means: empty hair, empty words. Okay, the whole purpose of Facebook, the whole purpose of these, instant, what is it called? The other one. Whatever, all those, the shtiyot that we go through, what's it called? Instagram, it's social media. Social media, there, thank you. So all of that, in my opinion, is the biggest Yetzer Hara. This is the generation of Yetzer Hara. That and the cell phone, I think. And that's what Dvar Shtus means. It's just emptiness. Okay, unless you use it for maybe work, to advertise or whatever. But again, in general, what's just a waste of time. It's a big waste of time, in my opinion. And I think that's the biggest. The Yetzer Hara is here. It's created, and unfortunately, that's an everyday battle. And somehow we have to overcome it. We have to overcome the pressure of the everyday Yetzer Hara. Okay, and like the Meiri says, we are born with it. We're born with it. All right, and unfortunately, it's very strong, and there are ways to fight it. But again, it's there, it's prevalent, and again, the essence of it is to damage us. Is to damage our goof, it's to damage our soul, it's to kill us. Okay? It's to kill us. And not only it's gonna kill us, okay, you also have to understand something. There's a saying that every avera you do, it might not affect you per se. It might affect someone else because, all Jewish people are as one. Okay? All Jewish people are as one. So if you do something, if you succumb to the Yetzer Hara, the Gemara says actually in Shabbat, Nun Hey Amud Bet, which we learned a few weeks ago in Daf Yomi, says, look, Yetzer Hara, the Nachash, the snake, right? The snake, it caused 4 people to die, people who were without sin. Okay, so who were those people in the world that the Nachash, the snake, caused those 4 people to die? So the Gemara says the following. It was Benjamin, son of Yaakov. Okay, Amram, the father of Moshe. Yishai, who was the father of David HaMelech, the King David, and Kilav, who was the son of King David. All right, so those 4 people, according to the Gemara, never sinned, but they passed away because of what the snake did thousands of years ago. Okay, understood? So the Yetzer Hara, if you succumb to what the Gemara is teaching us, if you succumb to the Yetzer Hara now, it could cause the long time effect for someone you don't even know. Okay? Where conversely, if you think about it, if you win over the Yetzer Hara, okay, if you win the battle, even one battle of the Yetzer Hara, you don't know what kind of effect it could bring to you, to your family, or someone else that you don't even know. Alright? And it's because, again, you have to understand, all Jews are the same. It's one body. Alright? Nefesh echad. Like when they entered Mitzrayim, it says they came as one nefesh. Okay, they came together. So it shows that the Jews are as one nation. And if something happens, if you succumb to Yetzer Hara, you don't know what in generations later could cause. Okay, but also conversely it's true as well. If you win over the Yetzer Hara, you don't know how much good it could create. So it's important to win the battles, everyday battles against the Yetzer Hara. Okay, any questions? Comments? Crickets? Okay. So, the question is, how do we fight the Yetzer Hara? How do we find this creature that is inside of us? How do we fight this entity that wants to kill us, that wants to damage us? So again, I opened the class with the most important battle, with the most important antidote. And it's Limud Torah. We got to learn Torah. Okay, we got to study Torah. The Torah is the pathway. The Torah is our way of living. All right? The Torah has all the answers that we need to have to succeed against Ayin Hara, for example, and to succeed against the Yetzer Hara. And that's the Gemara in Kedushin, Daf Lamed Amud Bet. It says like this: the Torah is the perfect antidote to Yetzer Hara. Okay, Hashem created this thing called Yetzer Hara, right? And then at the same time, Hashem created a medicine, that elixir, they call it, antidote to that Yetzer Hara. I also read somewhere that no matter what the sickness is in the world, Hashem created the sickness with the refuah, with the medicine. So too over here, the Yetzer Hara, it's a sickness, so to say, and Hashem, it says, look, as long as you occupy yourself with the Torah, as long as you do the right thing, you will have the antidote to fight the Yetzer Hara. I'm gonna make the connection later on what it means. You learn Torah. Just because you learn Torah, that means you're gonna have you have positive outcomes against the Yetzer Hara. So I'll make the connection a little bit. Rabbi Gifter, the Rosh Yeshiva, my Rosh Yeshiva, he says, points out that Torah study alone, it's good, but it might be enough against Yetzer Hara. You have to know how to use the Torah principles, the Torah knowledge, okay, to fight the Yetzer Hara. And how do you gain that knowledge? How do you gain the principles of Torah? Again, we have to amal b'Torah. You have to toil in the Torah. Okay, you have to toil in the Torah. Don't learn just the surface. Dig deep, understand the reasoning. If you have questions, ask the questions. Don't be shy. Like the Rav said, a few weeks ago, even if you do not get to the bottom of your question, even if you do not get to the bottom of whatever you need to get to the goal, don't worry. That itself is a mitzvah. It's a mitzvah gdolah. It's a big mitzvah. Okay, and that will protect you against the fight of the Yetzer Hara. Rabbi Yonah, if you remember, we said in the beginning, when we start to study the second parak in the first Mishnah, he says like this: you have to have Torah, and especially it's true nowadays, Torah plus melacha, plus work. Okay, the idea is once the person is learning Torah, once the person is occupying himself with work, he doesn't have time for ruach shtus. He doesn't have time for silly things. His mind is constantly occupied with Torah and with work. All right, two things, two components, Torah and work. And nowadays, I think it's very important. Look, nobody here is big Talmid Chacham who's going to sit here and learn 24 hours a day. So we understand we have to go and do parnasah, we have to go work, we have to provide for the family. So again, especially in our society, it's true. Torah alone, digging and studying the Torah alone might not be enough. So that's what Rabbi Yonah says. Maybe nowadays you can apply, Torah plus work. Okay, keep yourself occupied, keep your mind occupied, and you don't have time. You're not going to have time to sin. You're not going to have time even to think about Yetzer Hara. You're not going to have time to succumb to the Yetzer Hara. I think we could learn this. I have proof. We might have proof how Torah works against the Yetzer Hara. If you remember in Parsha, when Yosef, when the wife of Potiphar, she tried to seduce Yosef, and every time she tried to seduce him, and the few times that Yosef almost did the avera, who came to him? Whose face did he see right before the avera? Right, when the seduction took place, he saw Yaakov Avinu's face. Okay, I believe it's the Midrash that says that, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, so what is this? What is this? What does it mean that he saw this face and that's it? He didn't want to do the avera. So we all know Yaakov Avinu is the epitome, is the sign of Torah, studying Torah. He studied and learned the Beis Medrash for 14 years, right? And he was the epitome. He was the pillar of Torah. So I think the connection over there is like this. Every time Yosef tried to or is about to get seduced or is about to do the avera, who did he see? How did he fight off the Yetzer Hara? By seeing the Torah, the face of Yaakov. Okay, and that's how you fight Yetzer Hara. All right. Every time you're about to succumb to some sin, chas v'shalom, to something that that the Yetzer Hara is trying to get you to do, think of something. Think of the shiur. That's important. But think of something that you learned, before. Think of a pasuk maybe, and that should help you fight whatever the sin that chas v'shalom you're about to commit. Okay. So the connection between learning the Torah and not to succumbing to the Yetzer Hara is again like this. Again, the question, somebody actually presented the question to me. Well, what do you mean? You just learn the Torah, that means that's it? You're shielded against the Yetzer Hara? And the answer is no. So the first step is like this. You could do what Yosef did. Look, think of Yaakov. Think of Torah. Right away, you're about to chas v'shalom go to McDonald's and eat a burger. Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu. No, that will prevent you from doing it. That will give you some conscience, some idea of being a Yid, a Jew, and maybe you will drop the burger and not eat it, okay? But again, the second way you could explain is the more Torah you learn, the more you dig in the ways of Torah, the more concepts you know, the more knowledge you have. And those concepts and that knowledge will help you prevent the sin that you're about to do. Okay? In other words, the Yetzer Hara might say, you know what? It's okay. You could come late to shul, it's okay. But you know what? You know that the Zman Tefillah is over at a certain time and you have to get to shul on time. Okay? So knowledge and principles of Torah, alright, will prevent you, in my opinion, will prevent you to do an Aveiram. And I think when you see in the measures when it says the Rab Natan adds the following language: once you toil in Torah, once you study in Torah, the fire of Torah can transform the evil inclination into the force of good. Okay? Meaning, like we just said before, the more knowledge you have, the more Torah principles you have in your mind, okay, that energy of Torah will turn the bad things into the good things. In other words, it will melt the Yetzer Hara, so to say, okay, for lack of a better word, and create the whatever you melt into the good, into the Yetzer Tov, into the mitzvah, into the energy of doing the mitzvah. Okay, so I think that's a very, very simple shot. It's a very simple way of doing it. The more Torah you learn, the more you dig into the principles of Torah, the more knowledge you will have, the more principles, the more maybe siyata d'shmaya you will have, okay, to fight against the Yetzer Hara. I think that's why, that's how this Meforshim, if you put them all together, I think you can come up to a solution that way. Any questions?
Yes, I have a comment.
Please.
Every night before a person goes to sleep, he should think about every move he made the whole day.
Right.
If he did anything wrong. It's a good way to think. When you go back and you think about what you did the whole day, did you hurt anybody? Did you commit any crime? Anything, any bad thing that you might have done?
Right. Right.
You can correct the mistakes that you made during the day, and hopefully you will not make them tomorrow.
Right. And that's what we said. If you remember, the last shiur that we gave in the shul, we said a person should do tshuva every day, right? Because you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, whether you're going to be alive or not. So one thing that we said to do is say, Kriya Shema Alamit, right? That's one way to say, that's like the easiest way to say tshuva, right? So, but what's the deeper meaning? Why we say, the Mishnah said do tshuva? It's like what you said. You got to reflect on what you did that day, right? You got to reflect on what you did that day, and so hopefully tomorrow you'll correct them or not do them at all. I think it goes along with what you're saying, no?
Yes.
Thanks. That's an excellent point. Thank you. Any questions? Any comments? No. Okay. So the second way we could fight the Yetzer Hara is it's tefillah. Okay. It's davening to Hashem not to do certain things. So I want to bring down a pasuk in Tehillim that I think alludes to that point. So first of all, where do we know that the Yetzer Hara is trying to kill you from Tehillim? So it says like this. It's a Tehillim 37, Lamed Zayin, pasuk Lamed Bet. It says like this: Tzofer Rasha leTzadik. Watch what the wicked one does to a tzaddik. Okay, it's talking about Yetzer Hara. Umivakesh lehamito, and it's trying to kill him, mamash. Okay, and then the pasuk afterwards says in Lamed Daled like this. What's the antidote to this? One way to do it is the following. And again, this is my opinion. Kaveh el Hashem, place your hope in Hashem. Ushmor derachol, and He will safeguard your ways. Kaveh el Hashem, ushmor derachol. And watch what you do. Go in His ways. Yuramenu l'reshet aretz. He will raise you high, and you will inherit in the land. Okay. In other words, what he's saying is, Kaveh Hashem. Put your hope in Hashem. Daven to Hashem. Say, Hashem, I have this one particular problem. Help me to eradicate. Okay. A person all the time. I always say, if you feel hopeless, if you feel helpless, you have nobody to turn, you have Hashem. Don't ever say you have nobody to turn to. It's the worst thing a Jewish person could say. I have nobody, I have nothing. I have nobody to turn to. During this crisis, I called a few elderly people and they say, listen, I have no family, I have nobody. I said, look at me. You don't ever say that as a Jewish person. You always have Hashem. Okay, and this is what the Pasuk says, Kaveh el Hashem. You have to put your hope into Hashem. Put your hand into Hashem's hands. Okay? If you understand the words, if you understand the meaning of Kaveh el Hashem, you're giving yourself up to Hashem totally. Okay, it's the total emunah that you will have. And with that, if you ask Hashem to help you to fight the Yetzer Hara, and it says, the Pasuk says, Hashem will bring you up and you will yashan in his aretz, meaning, he will eradicate whatever Yetzer Hara you will have. And as a matter of fact, if we look at the Siddur, we every morning in Brichat HaTorah, we say the following thing. What else? That's it? Okay, so I'm talking about the pasuk V'hi ratzon lifanecha Hashem Elokeinu v'Elokei avotenu shetaragleinu b'toratecha v'tabeidu mitzvotecha, let us do as mitzvot, v'al teveinu ludochet, let us not do chet, v'lo lidei avera, v'lo lidei nisayon, v'lo lidei bizayon. Okay, and then it says like this: v'tarchikeinu mi Yetzer Hara, distance us from the Yetzer Hara. Okay, we say it every morning, right?
Yep.
Okay, so every morning we ask Hashem without even maybe realizing that, listen, we ask Hashem this every morning. Distance me from the Yetzer Hara. Do not let the Yetzer Hara come close to me. Okay? So that's what it means, Kaveh el Hashem. Put your praise into Hashem. Listen, this is a very important bracha that you have to understand what you're saying. Okay, maybe in our next segment we'll do the Siddur. But it says like, V'tachikeinu mi Yetzer Hara. Remove me from the bad, v'tabikeinu bi Yetzer Hatov, and bring close to me the Yetzer Hatov. Okay, that's the constant fight. The constant fight is distance me from Yetzer Hara and bring close to me the Yetzer Tov. Okay, another prayer that we say, or we should say, actually, is in the Siddur as well. Let's see where it is. Page 144. Okay. So it's in the Shmona Esrei. When a person finishes Shmona Esrei, before he takes the 4 steps back, actually I think it's brought down in the Gemara Brachot, if I'm not mistaken, to say the following one of the pasuk. So the pasuk says over here like this: V'hi ratzon lifanecha Hashem Elokai v'Elokei avotai. We're going to skip a lot of things. And then it says like this: V'tatzilenu mi Yetzer Hara. Save me from the Yetzer Hara. Okay, so actually we say it we should say it every time we say Shmona Esrei before we finish. We say this kapitel, we say this pasuk, or we say this paragraph, so to say, and in the paragraph it says V'tatzilenu mi Yetzer Hara. Okay, save me from the Yetzer Hara. So come to think about it, there's a difference in language between the morning and the Shachari, between the Brichat HaTorah and the one over here. The difference is, one says, distance me, but the other one says to the Tatzaleni, as if you already have it. Okay, so that's the difference in the language. But it's okay. But again,